welcome to another Thinking Thanks Tuesday. And for today, as I always promise, I'm not going to waste any time, and there won't be anything different from last week's news. So for today, we're still going to look at the Zulu nation and what happened after last week. So we all know by now that the Zulus now have a new king. Misizulu is the new king, as it was said on Queen Mantombi Dlamini's will. Remember, she was supposed to be in charge for 3 months, and then after 3 months, Misizulu was supposed to come back and come take over the kingdom. So now it's official, he's the king. That's what we have from the Zulu nation, but we'll look further into the story. And also we'll look again into the COVID Indian variant, which we have here in South Africa, like from last week. And also we'll have a look at the ANC step side, because we know there's been a lot of development in that category. So yeah, that's the news for today. So we'll just continue with last week's news this week without wasting any time. In front of me, I've got Eyewitness News, and Eyewitness News, it's on Duarte, ANC step aside resolution not aimed at Ace Magashule. We all know from the ANC it's been back and forward. Ace Magashule been suspended, and then Magashule suspends Ramaphosa. It's been like crazy in the ANC. And you don't ask ANC spokespeople or anybody in the ANC what's going on, because they will eat you alive. They'll keep on saying there's no problem in the ANC and so on, but the problems, the cracks are visible for everybody, and nobody wants to come out and admit that yes, we are facing our own challenges in the ANC like any other party, but then we are willing and we are hopeful that we will sort them out. That's all they need to say to the people, but stop patronizing people and say there's no divisions, there's no factions in the ANC, whereby it's clear as broad daylight that there is factions in the ANC. We are not scared, but we can see. Anyway, let's see what Duarte is saying. So if the ANC could just come clean and say, yes, we are facing our challenges, and we are hoping eventually that will come right as a party again. So here it says Johannesburg, and the NEC this weekend also had a conference meeting, I don't know what they call it, to get together to discuss whatever is happening in the ANC. So African National Congress ANC Deputy Secretary General Jesse Duarte on 11th May briefs the media on the outcomes of the party's special NEC meeting. So it was a special NEC meeting. Johannesburg, African National Congress ANC Deputy Secretary General Jesse Duarte said that the step-aside rule was not aimed at Ace Magashule but at all those facing charges. We know that Ace Magashule is not taking this lying down. He is on his own defense mode. Duarte was delivering the outcomes of the party's 3-day National Executive Committee NEC meeting, with reports of heated discussion on issues such as the step-aside rule. The Secretary General was suspended after being charged in connection with an asbestos roofing contract in the Free State. Duarte said that Magashule's suspension was temporary, but she then addressed Magashule's issuing of a letter of suspension to the President, saying that it was unacceptable. We have been instructed to request the SG to apologize publicly to ANC structures and members within a set of time frame. But she then addressed Magashule's issuing of a letter of suspension to the President, saying that it was unacceptable. We have been instructed to request the SG to apologize publicly to the ANC structures and members within a set time frame. But she was confident that Magashule would step forward. We are confident that SG will rise to the occasion and that he will follow the dictates of the ANC constitution. Factionalism will not be tolerated. Duarte said that the government party needed to speak with one voice and that factionalism would not be tolerated. The Deputy Secretary General said that the party must not be divided. None of us in this ANC acts on our own. We take mandate from the National Working Committee, the NEC of the ANC, so none of us are able to, in fact, act independently. She singled out one faction for sowing division. We express concern about a concerted and well-resourced campaign to sow division and confusion in the ANC, and in this regard, we are referring very specifically to General Mutau and RET forces, which clearly just a faction raising its head in the ANC throughout the country. COVID-19 vaccines. Duarte also said that the party was working with government and organizations to overcome what she called vaccine imperialism. She said that vaccines needed to be produced in this country. Government is working with other countries to try and get a waiver to the problems that allow countries producing their own vaccines. Turning to land reform, Duarte said that there needed to be clarity on what exactly needed to be adjusted with regards to the constitution. Land reform must take place in a manner that strengthens the agricultural sector, improves economic growth, and significantly tackles inequality and poverty and unemployment and primarily land hunger. And that's what we got from the ANC. So this is Duarte, Jesse Duarte's Deputy Secretary General of the ANC, summarizing the special NEC meeting which took place this weekend. As you can hear, they are still jumping up and down and around the issues of what's really happening, and then also admitting and not admitting that there's factions in the ANC, the RET forces or whatever they call themselves. So the ANC is really going through its most, but then hopefully, like any other time, it will bounce back again. But for all of these things to be happening during a by-election month and by-election year, I kind of feel like it is putting a lot of pressure on the president of ANC to really try to find new ways or really innovative ways to campaign this year, because whatever is happening now, it still will follow the ANC when it's all voting time. I remember when it was voting time during Zuma's time, where there was that whole issue of paying back the money. One of the main issues which people were asking when I was a member of the ANC, let me just be frank, when we used to do door-to-door campaigns and so on, people used to want to know from us as the representatives of that ward and so on about things which were happening on the news regarding the ANC. And that time it was then when it was believed that Zuma took used money which was not meant to be used in Nkandla to build Nkandla. So people always had questions for us when we used to do our door-to-doors, and we had to answer those difficult questions. And I bet you, in the ANC, you mustn't be honest and say your honest truth. You must always say based on the constitution of the ANC, even if you know this is not worth it now. You just need to tell the truth to the people. But it's not, if it's not in the constitution of the ANC, then it's not the truth of the ANC, even if it is the truth, even if it is your truth. So ANC is just something on its own, which people which knows it very well can always hide behind the ANC while they are pushing their own agendas. So the ANC, the only way to help itself is just to clean house. Anyway, we are finished with the ANC. We are not going to waste our time and energy and analyze ANC's problems which they created themselves. Every party goes through the most. And then the next story, which we did last week, was the COVID and Indian variant. Let's see where we're standing this week with the COVID Indian variant. So that's what's happening in the ANC. Okay, here's another. Let's just continue because I see there's the other one. Mahashule given ultimate Magashule has until May 12 to apologize to Ramaphosa. This is by Baldwin Ndaba 3 hours ago, and this is IOL. Okay. Here it says, suspended ANC Secretary General Ace Magashule has until May 12 to apologize to his party for his unlawful suspension of the sitting president Cyril Ramaphosa. See, he got a suspension and then he decided to suspend the president. And acting Secretary General Jessie Dawate said she hoped that Magashule will rise to the occasion and duly apologize to ANC structures and community. But political analyst Sandile Tswana believes that Magashule will go for broke. Speaking to ENCA, Tswana said, "I don't think he is likely to offer any apology." Tswana said that some of Magashule's supporters are of the view that his accusers are not wholly either. He was adamant that Magashule will only be persuaded to apologize by his supporters if they believe that the apology will attract credible benefit for them. While it is not clear whether Magashule will comply, Dawete, who addressed the media at Luthuli House on Tuesday, reiterated that her party will prefer disciplinary charges against him if he fails to do so. We had other people calling from other countries wanting to verify the suspension. He had no legal basis to write a suspension. We had requested the Secretary General to apologize within 48 hours. The National Executive Committee did not conclude on the time frame, but that was announced by the President during his closing remarks yesterday, Dawate said. She further reiterated that the ANC agreed that such conduct was completely unacceptable and flagrant violation of the rules, norms and values of the ANC. Dawate maintained that Magashule will be entitled to his monthly remuneration of 133,000, saying the same will be accorded to ANC staff members affected by the step-aside rule. During the press conference, Dawate, however, created an impression that ANC MP and former State Security Minister Bongani Bongo may keep his parliamentary seat but should recuse himself as the chairperson of the Portfolio Committee on Home Affairs. Dawete was replying to a question on why taxpayers should be responsible for the remuneration of people who were asked to step aside by their parties. She did not give detailed response to the question but said Parliament will be tasked to determine his remuneration after the step-aside rule is implemented. Parliament will guide us on whether the pay grade of a member can be changed, she said. Dawete confirmed that there was no provision for an appealing the temporary suspension rule Magashule and others were subjected to, saying it is purely a defensive suspension to defend the ANC's image. While he confirmed the suspension, the Magashule and Bongo, Dawete did not answer the question on whether former President Jacob Zuma, who's facing trial on May 17, was among those due to be served with suspension letters. Oh God, Political Bureau. So as you can see, what I was just trying to summarize the whole what's happening in the ANC. Now you've got it. Nobody really knows what's going on in the ANC, because one gives this explanation and the other one gives their own explanation. So let's just find out where are we now with the royal Misizulu, the Zulu royal family. Sorry, the ANC is just exhausting. Okay, let's see. Zulu. I'm trying to see where we can find the easy story. Royal overviews, royal family. Okay, President Mahathir, the Zulu nation and the King's tradition prime minister has hit back and Princess. Okay, 21. Village is the recent Tokoza, which means heifer in the Zulu. Okay, where are we now? The royal family, 1 month. Why is it so far? 8 May, the King Zulu, not the King's Zulu. Okay, I thought I was gonna find something immediately. Misizulu, King Misizulu Zulu by age education. Let's see. So the new king is King Misizulu Zulu. So that's what we have. That's the new Zulu for the new Zulu king. Barely 2 months after King Misizulu. Sorry, no. There's so much going on in India. Okay. King Misizulu Zulu bio age, wife, education, latest news 3 days ago, by Priscilla, whatever. Sorry to say that this is just a busy site. I don't know how I got here. So barely 2 months after the passing of King Goodwill Zwelithini, his succession seems to be causing turbulence in the kingdom. The death of the Zulu interim leader, Queen Mantfombi Dlamini, resulted in the announcement of King Misizulu Zulu as the new Zulu king. However, his appointment was received with mixed reactions and opposition from his siblings. So why is there chaos in the transition? How about reading on for more details? Okay, let's see why this one is supposed to give us the juice or the sauce. Oh God, this is the late Queen Mantfombi Dlamini passed on the 29th of April 2021, weeks after taking over as the kingdom's regent. On the day of her burial, her eldest son was announced as the new head of the monarch. However, the appointment did not resonate with his siblings. On the contrary, they expressed their concerns about the legitimacy of his appointment. Why will they raise eyebrows about their siblings? His biography breaks into bits who King Misizulu is and why his siblings are up in arms to refute his appointment. Okay, King Misizulu Zulu profile. His full name is Misizulu Sinqobile Zwelithini. Date of birth 23rd of September 1974. Place of birth KwaHlabisa, KwaZulu, South Africa. Father King Goodwill Zwelithini. Mother Queen Mantfombi Dlamini. Zodiac Libra. Nationality South Africa. Gender female. Occupation House of Zulu. Prince Misizulu's biography. Who is Prince Misizulu? He is the third child and the eldest son of the late Queen Mantfombi Dlamini of Eswatini and the late King Goodwill Zwelithini. His mother was referred to as the great wife of the KwaKhangela Mankengane royal house, Nongoma. Therefore, after her husband's death, she took over as the regent. The throne does not have any formal political power. The monarch's role is primarily ceremonial. Nevertheless, the Zulu monarch remains influential and even has an annual funded budget of approximately $4.9 million. Okay, this is an international. Misizulu Zulu age. Misizulu Zulu Zwelithini was born on the 23rd September 1974. He is the eldest son of King Goodwill Zwelithini and Queen Mantfombi Dlamini of Eswatini. As of May 2021, he is 46 years old. Misizulu Zulu education. He attended St. Charles College, Pietermaritzburg for his high school education. There are allegations that he holds a degree in international studies. However, other claims say that he is still pursuing a degree in Jacksonville, Florida. Misizulu wife. Misizulu is not married. However, he has a son with Princess Wezizwe Sigcawu of the Amampondo royalty. King Misizulu Zulu latest news. Okay. Who is next King Zulu? Who is the next Zulu king? On the 7th of May 2021, 46-year-old Prince Misizulu Zulu was named the new Zulu king despite the brewing family feud. He was named in the will of his late mother, Queen Manfomi Dlamini, who passed on the 29th of April 2021. His appointment as the new king stirred mixed reactions from family members, and some openly voiced their disapproval. The drama escalated so fast that the newly appointed king had to be whisked away by a group of armed security officers. The name took place at the Kwakangela Makengane Royal Place, and it was televised. The same day was the late mother, Queen Manfomi Dlamini Zulu burial, carried out as 2 a.m. by traditional culture experts from the Zulu and Eswatini monarch. Before her death, the late queen left the Kwakangela Makengane Royal Place to all her children and their descendants. She also equally shared her savings, assets, policies, and bank accounts among her 8 children. The Zulu king's successor, according to her will as read by her lawyer, Advocate Madoda Madonzelate, late mother Queen Manfomi Dlamini Zulu had bequeathed the monarch to her eldest son. Before her death, the queen ruled as the regent as alleged in King Goodwill Zwelithini Kabheki Zulu's last will. However, 2 of the late King Goodwill Zwelithini's daughter refuted the appointment of Misizulu as the new king. After the announcement that Misizulu will take over as king, Prince Thokozani Zulu refuted the appointed and questioned his recognition as the heir. He claimed that the late king's will did not specify who will succeed the regent. He went further to allege the royal house should decide because the will did not say who should take over from the queen. The matter of the regency had to be gazetted. We wish to know if that was done. The late queen's 2 eldest daughters were the first ones to walk out of the meeting immediately after their brother was announced as the successor of the position. They raised questions about the authenticity of the will. Later, Prince Mangosuthu Buthelezi rebuked the Prince Thokozani for raising the issue during the public reading of the will. Prince Mangosuthu Buthelezi's decision to not allow Prince Thokozani to ask questions instigated a heated exchange between them. However, the Queen's lawyer defended Prince Buthelezi, stating that there are more suitable platforms for this. All of us are fuming, as I'm fuming now, because we are trying to stop him. Actually, all was trying to say supported to go his lawyers and opposed in court, not just Okay, that's just what was said in Zulu. Misizulu Zulu net worth. Misizulu Zulu's parents were among the richest monarchs in Africa. The late King Zwelithini was worth $20 million, a function of his annual allowance from the government. Even though his son's net worth is unclear, he could be worth a significant figure since he is about to take over the office as the new ruler. Will the appointment of King Misizulu Zulu as the new leader of the Zulu community proceed to the coronation stage? If so, will the family feud be settled as expected? Be on the lookout for the updates of how the drama will unfold and whether will be crowned as king. This was a nice page. This person really knows how to summarize the story and just break it down. So that's the latest of what's happening with the Zulus. You can see this person just wrote the story like very good. Even the summary was well done. And now our last story for the day. Let's look out what do we have on COVID-19 and the virus in South Africa. Disagree. This one shouldn't be inside and how Ramapapur. The Montana forces zoned and corrected throughout some evidence submitted about. There's still some hot news going on. Is Makashtrans Makate Zulu fully backs Misizulu as looking utelezi. Is Makashudora to say sorry. Remember, we just read that one now. It's been rice, and then I thought there was supposed to have been something which popped up already about the COVID-19 virus and us in South Africa. So let's just go to COVID-19 South Africa updates. And then there's also some news brewing when it comes to the story of AKA's girlfriend, almost wife, the one which jumped from the hotel here in Cape Town, because now there were footages which they just showed, which show very bad image of what really happens behind closed doors. So some people believe that AKA might have been abusing the girl. That's why the girl was not happy. I don't know, the one's coronavirus in South Africa, the Mail and Guardian. When was this? Okay, let's take the Mail and Guardian. It says latest. Latest coronavirus in South Africa, the Mail and Guardian. Just Coke. Oh, I hate difficult things in my cake. Okay, I think there we are busy looking at the data. Sorry. This one is just showing us the data. I want some news. Okay, which is news. Public Works table. So we are in the Mail in Guardian now. Public Works table, solution to Bosch Bridge border reference. Okay, Mudak Defense still state to get its act together. Shamduka shade over Free State education. Okay, I am gonna get tired of popped up questions. Okay. Zuma Panda's close friend belayed on because Zuma has lost trust in the lawyers better. Okay, I don't seem to be finding any report. Zondo Commission gets funded but still needs more. Case of municipal. ESB. Okay, I don't think I'm finding what I need. Health. Okay, if I don't find anything here on COVID, I am going to move away. Yeah, okay. This is my first time going to Mail and Guardian webpage. I guess I wasn't aware. Okay, it says new COVID-19 variant in South Africa of concerns at a global level. Who? By Unistolz. Okay, this is our last story for today, hopefully. It's 11th of May 2021. This one, new COVID-19 variant in South Africa of concern at a global level, and that's from WHO, World Health Organization. It says here, the World Health Organization, WHO, has classified the COVID-19 B.1.617 variant as one of concern, but the agency maintained that available vaccines remain effective at preventing disease and death in people infected with this variant. The B.1.617 variant first detected in India, was previously viewed as one of interest. New data of the variant particular lineage B.1.617.2 have shown a rapid spread to countries across the world, including in South Africa. Marianne van Kerkhove, an infectious disease epidemiologist and the WHO's lead on COVID-19, told media on Monday, 10 May, that there is some available information to suggest increased transmissibility of the B.1.617. As such, we are classifying this as a variant of concern at a global level. So, the WHO's list of concerning variants include B.1.1.7, first detected in the UK, P.1 originally from Brazil, and B.1.351 variant first detected in South Africa. Bearing the P1 variant, South Africa has detected all other variants in the country. Referring specifically to the B.1.617 variant, Van Kerkhove said, "We don't have anything to suggest that our diagnostics of therapeutics and our vaccines don't work against this lineage." Dr. Richard Lessels, an infectious disease specialist at the KwaZulu-Natal Research Innovation and Sequencing Platform, told the Maiden Guardian that South Africans should not be overly concerned about this new variants, but rather about the number of COVID cases again increasing in several provinces. It's those two things together that should worry us, rather than just the fact that these variants are coming into the country, because that's not surprising. We see rising infections and new variants in many parts of the world. It's inevitable as we are traveling much more than a year ago, argues Lessels. On Monday, WHO Director General Tedros Ghebreyesus said a global plateauing in the number of COVID-19 cases and deaths had been recorded in most regions. However, it remained a high plateau, he said, with more than 5.4 million reported cases and almost 90,000 deaths last week. In South Africa, the number of daily COVID infections fell to fewer than 2,000 on Sunday after a 4-day high with reported daily cases of slightly more than 2,000. Since the last report on Monday, 10 May, 1,129 new infections were recorded, bringing the number of cases since the outbreak of the pandemic in March last year to 159. Bringing the number of cases since the outbreak of the pandemic in March last year to 1,597,724. And that's all for today. So we're still battling with the COVID-19 as much as that we are told not to panic. Everything is normal, and there's gonna be more variants, different variants, because people are traveling now more than last year. So I guess what they're telling us is the only way which we can keep safe is just keep on protecting ourselves. Wear your mask, don't get to contact with people which you don't know where they have been, because people now are traveling, and that's why it's gonna be, the virus is still going to spread a lot. So that's all the news we have today. We went back on the ANC, we went back on the Zulus, and we went back on the COVID. I think that's all we're gonna do today. And then thank you very much, family. Hope all you have a wonderful evening, and please don't forget to comment, subscribe, and like this channel. And thank you very much for all the support. I really appreciate that. And see you next week for our Thinking Things Tuesday again. Hopefully next week we'll do better news. I don't know if there's any better news, but yeah. So thank you, family. Have all a wonderful time.